course, the big election story from Tuesday was actually out of Florida, which is great because we happen to have a Friday segment called Florida Report.
It's not even controversial anymore.
People know in Florida their freedoms are going to be respected.
Joining us is our Florida-based correspondent, my sister Miranda. You are now in the middle of the most interesting political climate in America.
Yeah, I think Florida always brings something interesting to every election, but kind of switched gears on this one a little bit.
Yeah, so let's start obviously by talking about Ron DeSantis in the race for governor. I think people knew he was going to win. This is a pretty big blowout. And you actually looked at, when you compare it, and I think it's particularly interesting, when you compare it to the results back in, was it 2018?
2018, yeah.
Yeah, because if you compare it to those results, he outperformed himself by a lot.
By a lot. Just in the state alone, I mean, he took 59.4% of the votes that are currently counted, and Kruse only got 40%. That is a significant margin of people. It's like 1.5 million voter difference. A huge gap compared to in 2018 when he ran against Andrew Gillum. It was only a 33,000 vote difference. It's 49.6% of the votes to DeSantis and 49.2% of the votes went to Gillum in 2018. So those numbers are significantly different.
Yeah, that's insane. I know Andrew Gillum was supposed to be some Democratic superstar, and they poured a lot of money into that. But that is a significant result for Ron DeSantis. And I've been talking about, we talked about on Florida Report as well, that it was predicted that Ron DeSantis would win for the first time for a Republican governor in 20 years, Miami-Dade County. And not only did he win Miami-Dade County, but again, when you compare it to 2018, it's significant. Give us those numbers.
For Miami-Dade County, DeSantis took 55.3% of the votes and Kruse took 44% of the votes. So that's a huge significant difference compared to in 2018 when he ran against Gillum. It was Gillum took 59.9% of the votes and Ron DeSantis only took 39% of the votes. So that is another huge difference for Miami-Dade County, which is pretty historically a blue county. That is a huge swing towards the Republican support.
Well, for any county to swing that much in 4 years, I can see over 12 years seeing a shift in the electorate. That's significant. What are you hearing from folks there about? Because I know Donald Trump, it sounds like there's some mixed opinions, but he's still, moving forward with announcing a 2024 bid, also from Florida, from Mar-a-Lago. Did you hear any chatter about what people there think of these two Floridians and who should run for president?
Yeah, I think in Florida, you're going to have a lot more support for DeSantis, mainly because we've seen his politics in action down here. We've been able to see results, and also on the other side of things, some things that don't work out. But I think because of DeSantis's handling of the last 4 years, the pandemic, all the social issues that kind of came up, he kept our state pretty safe, pretty open, pretty free. And I think that a lot of people, and from what I hear, even some of my close friends that were a little more Trump supporters, now that DeSantis is thinking about running, I truly believe that DeSantis will take Florida if he runs for president too, even as a governor. I think people just really enjoy him.
Yeah, his star is on the rise. I can't imagine Trump's too pleased about that. I had to laugh though. There was this Centennial, and it was an op-ed. It was in the editorial board, but this is so funny because in our state we saw the complete opposite. I think that this was the election that showed that I don't know if Republicans here can win statewide office again. The Democratic results here were really good. It was not the case in Florida. And the Centennial editorial board called it an epic Democratic collapse. And what was the other? A crimson hellscape.
A crimson hellscape.
I like that. And did they go back and edit it? Is that what I read? Because people were so pissed off.
Yeah, they went back in and changed hellscape to landscape. They didn't, make any remarks about the change. They just went and changed it. I guess they maybe weren't too happy with the way that came across to a lot of people, because Florida is so far from a hellscape, and you can't do that to this beautiful state, regardless of politics and how you feel about it.
Really quickly, I just wanted to mention all of this, meanwhile, and there was this hurricane, Nicole, that just pops up in Florida. Did that have an impact at all on elections or anything like that?
I honestly don't know if it really had an impact on elections, because obviously the election day was earlier this week, maybe on some final votes coming out of the counties that were affected, but it didn't hit until early Thursday morning, or like 1 a.m. Here in Miami, we didn't really feel anything. But it did cause some significant damage to like houses along the coast in Vero Beach, along with some Airbnbs, hotels, and some other businesses. So there is actually some significant damage, because it did hit as a Category 1. It kind of came out of nowhere, and we don't really get November storms like this. I think this is like maybe the 4th in history to hit the United States in November. The last one was in like the 30s. So this is a very rare occurrence. I mean, we get a lot of tropical weather, but for it to actually form into a hurricane this late in the game, it's a little out of nowhere. It canceled my camping plans for the weekend.
Yeah, it also apparently, I mean, 5 people were killed in Nicole, so it was a serious storm, but it unearthed a Native American burial site.
Yeah, it did. Some beachgoers, Floridians love to get out after the storm clears and just check out the beaches, because you do find some very interesting things that wash up during the storm surge. And it unearthed what they are believing to be a Native American burial ground. They found a few human skeletons and some other odds and end bones in one area. And they had some crime scene investigators come out and forensic people to look at it. And they estimate the bones to be like 200 years old. So they're assuming that they're probably Native American. And I guess they're going to probably have to do some research on that site to see if they have to like clean it up and put them back or something. I don't really know what happens when you find stuff like that. So,
well, a real hurricane in Florida, a political hurricane. We'll be relying on you heavily as we see what happens with Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump. Miranda, thank you.
You're very welcome. Have a good weekend.
It's not even controversial anymore.
People know in Florida their freedoms are going to be respected.